You called me Josh Agle, but most people know me as Shag.
So it's a huge honor. This is probably one of my heroes, and when it comes to all things art and visual imagery, the amazing Josh Agle.
Thank you, Marcelo. Yeah, we're here in Palm Springs, and this is the Shag store. You called me Josh Agle, but most people know me as Shag, which is my artist name. My first name, which is Josh, I took the SH off the back of that. My last name is Agle. I took the AG off of that, stuck them together, and that's where Shag came from.
Because you do know in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew what it meant in the UK and Australia,
Right.
but there's also the shag carpeting from the 70s.
Correct.
And there's a dance called the shag, there's a haircut.
Right.
So it just had a lot of references.
Because the name drew me first. So there's a beautiful gallery in Melbourne called Oillataguerre Gallery. I walked in and I saw this piece and I'm like, whoa. I said, who is this? Who's the artist? And they said, Shag. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I went to one of your openings at the Oillataguerre Gallery. This is going back probably 2016, 17. I was walking in up to you. I got shy and I walked out.
Oh no.
Not that you're intimidating, but I think I just freaked out. Tell me about your pieces.
I spent the first 8 years of my life in Hawaii, and then I moved to California. So I've got Hawaii and California as sort of my background, and you can see that in the art. You know, if you look at that, obviously there's a lot of Hawaii in that.
Absolutely.
With the tiki and the tropical foliage and stuff. And I was kind of that era, a little late to experience like the 50s and 60s lifestyle, but that was kind of my parents' era.
Right.
And I saw it in the magazines they got, you know. That's what I wanted to paint.
I noticed that your art has evolved. I mean, you stayed within that postmodern 1950s, 60s sort of style, but I love the way it has evolved, you know, from some of the pieces that I have to this piece here. There's more going on. It's not as flat. There's...
Yeah, and I just think over time, you know, if you love what you do, it's going to change. You know, I could continue to recreate the same artwork. Like there's certain things I know, if I paint that, everybody's going to buy it.
Right.
But I want to do things that excite me.
Good for you.
And that's kind of, you know, what causes me to venture into new areas and new directions.
Yeah.
But I also have the rule, if it's not something I would hang on my own wall, I'm not going to release it.
So there's a brand new piece that's been released. You need to check this out. Look at this. Look at this.
Now, when I started coming to Palm Springs, I met Nancy Sinatra,
Wow,
who
cool.
lives out here. And, you know, being a huge fan of Nancy, and of course her father as well, you know, very influential on my musical tastes
Right.
and the things I liked in life. And so when I got a chance to actually approach Nancy and say, hey, can I do a print? You know, she was completely into the idea.
That's so cool.
And I said, would you sign it? And she liked that even better.
Oh, they are signed. I thought it was just signed by you. No.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
how
Nancy
cool
signed
is
all of
that?
these as
How
well.
cool. Tell me if I'm wrong, okay? I always feel like there's little inside jokes or hidden storylines inside a painting.
I always try and put a storyline into the artwork.
Right.
And I also want that story to be in the middle of the story arc.
Right.
So it's not, you know, something happened before and something's going to happen after.
Right.
And you're catching it kind of right in the middle.
Right.
And the reason I do that is it allows the viewer to fill in what happened before and what's going to happen afterward.
Because this one here, would you be willing to share, or you want to keep it a mystery?
No, this one, so many people have asked me about this and what it means, and I'm not saying what it means.
Good. Oh,
and
okay.
generally, I don't say about any of the art what my intention was. Sometimes people tell me what they think it means,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, that's better than what I had intended.
Right.
This one, I have a specific idea of what it's about,
Right.
and many people have interpreted it for me, and no one has actually come up with what I was meaning. But the person who came closest was a 10-year-old boy.
Oh, what a champion. What a boss.
Well, this is sort of a Palm Springs wall here. These are some historic homes from Palm Springs.
I love it. This is a glorious piece. I love that there's always parties going on. There's always a level of festivity happening in
And then this is a real house up here. This is on the hill. This is the Frey house too.
Right. So what's with the cats? That one, please, you have to tell. Just about every print I have of yours has some kind of feline in there. So.
Well, I find cats really aesthetically pleasing, and I
Right.
love to paint them. And when I started painting cats, I based it on this bubble bath bottle from my childhood.
Right.
It was this long, tall, black cat with a thin neck, and that's what I thought I was painting. And then when I finally found one of those bottles years later, it looked different than what I had been painting.
Isn't that the best?
Yeah.
So I love how your own imagination took over, you know? There's something was there and then you created something.
Yeah.
That's-
In fact, I did do a piece that has the actual bottle in it.
Do you have it
years
here?
later? Yeah, it's right over here. And that's the bubble bath bottle
Right.
that sort of influenced the look of the Shag cat.
Right. And I like the classic that you've got here, and actually another classic here. Even though your art is purposely two-dimensional, am I right? Mm-hmm. So it has this two-dimensional feel,
very flat.
which I love, But yet there is a seductiveness to your female characters. There's a sexiness to it.
It's the line of the female
Right.
figure, you know? If you can capture that line correctly,
Yeah.
you can do it really simply, but make it, you know, sort of magical.
So what's this print about?
Mainly based around that chair, which is probably the most iconic chair in mid-century modern design.
Right.
And that chair was designed by Charles and Ray Eames, famous Southern California designers.
Right.
And that's actually them in the photo.
Right.
But every other piece of furniture in this room they also designed.
Right.
Bâti mon nid, which is the name of a song by a French singer named Charlotte Gainsbourg. And there's even a photo of her sitting in a chair like this. So
Right.
that's what inspired the whole piece.
Beautiful. So when I was young, 16 years old, 17 years old, I was afraid to tell my mother, you know, you drive on both ends of the road. And I was afraid to tell her, are you ever scared that this car is going to hit you? Because you literally just, so what if one day one car just veers and you have a head-on collision? Mm-hmm. And I was scared to tell her this because what if I planted that in her consciousness and now she became aware of it and then she inadvertently had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question that may create fear.
Okay.
In your that was the setup, all right? I'm overwhelmed at your creativity and how vast it is. I almost feel like it's an endless well. Are you ever scared that you're going to run out of ideas? I guess is what I'm asking you.
There have been periods in my career as an artist where I've run out of ideas.
Right.
It hasn't happened for years.
Right, good for you.
And I started compiling ideas. So I have a long list of things I still want to work on and things I want to explore, awesome. Themes and subjects and things. But there were times where, you know, I just didn't have an idea. And what I would do is I would just start drawing. I'd start sketching, look at it, nope, you know, nope. And well, that might be something. Stick it in a drawer, get a pile of these drawings, go through them later, look at them again, and think, that isn't very good, but that makes me think of something that might be good.
Right.
I love making art,
Right,
and the fact that I have this venue for people to see it and buy it allows me to continue doing what I love.
So the question I asked was, has Josh created any prints with perfume in it? Classic scene.
Yeah.
Tell me about this scene right here.
Well, I actually worked with Universal Studios, who has the classic monsters, Frankenstein, Dracula the Bride, and I did 10 pieces based on those classic monsters for Universal. And this one, The Bride, tells a story a little different than in the movie.
And again, your iconic images are there. The cat is there. The sense of comedy in that here's Frankenstein bringing a rose to his bride while she's getting herself ready. There are 3 fragrances that I'm bringing from Melbourne, Australia. So just a little bit of a background here. So local brand, it's called Flaner, as in the French word to stroll aimlessly. Okay? And the idea behind it is that they too believe in traveling and smells take us places, you know, it reminds you of things, etc. So these are all expressions of different parts of the world. Okay. I'm not going to go much more into detail other than, all right, here's the first one. I'm going to spray, it's called Manhattan Cherry. What do you think of that? This is a tribute to Japan. It's called Yakasugi Wood. All right, so here is Green with Envy. The Manhattan Cherry, awesome as a winter fragrance. You never experience winter here, really, a proper winter. So we're going to move that one out of the way. Out of the Yakasuki wood and Green with Envy, what are your thoughts?
My favorite is the Yakasuki wood.
Right.
Yeah. And it does remind me of Japan.
Yeah.
Which Japan's one of my favorite countries to travel to.
Beautiful. All right, my friend.
Thank you.
Little gift.
I love it.
Cool.
I totally appreciate it.
Josh is the man. Shag is the art. You need to explore it. The work is amazing. As I said, for me, this has been a huge honor. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marcelo.
You know